Let me take you back for just a moment. February 2020, the early calm of one of the most tumultuous years in recent memory. You go online and find a lot of deeply concerning articles, from politics to tragedies to prophetic public health concerns. But then you come across something else, something very unexpected in the entertainment section. Pictures of a 3D anime girl, interviews with someone whose explosion in popularity seems unbelievable. Based on that, maybe you, like many others, decide to see what she's like, and what you find is someone special. Someone whose kindness and energy would shine through those dark times, help a budding industry rise to prominence, and make the world better in the process. This is the story of ProjektMelody.
Hello, everyone!
Why is this happening to me?
It really shows how cultured I am, and how immature you are.
Witness me!
Hello, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Commander Bubbles. I am a writer, artist, streamer, and scientist. And today I'm going to be covering the story of one of my biggest inspirations. While she wasn't the first VTuber to hit the scene, Melody was among the first to make such a big splash back in 2020. Someone who helped bring VTubing and dozens of creators to a much wider audience and helped build a thriving community. But how did we get here? Who's the person that helped make all of this possible? As with most VTubers, while we don't know a whole lot about the person behind the model, we do have some details. The most prominent member of her family that we hear about is her mom, who she calls Motherboard. And from what we know of her parents, the apple didn't fall far from the tree.
The thing that I've always done with my mom and stuff, like when I was a little floppy disk especially, I don't know what her deal is, but she likes to be in disguise. So if we're out and about and she wants to do shenanigans, we'll have code names and stuff. And she'll be like, I got you. I have a pretty sweater and shit. We're gonna look fancy schmancy and pretend to be upper crust. And we're gonna go to different house sellings and stuff and be like, oh yes, I can afford this place with the marble staircase. Please give me a tour. Because we've always been super interested at looking at all the fancy places.
But I had my box and it said toys on it, and my mom was helping me get all the stuff together, and I remember the box, I dropped it, the little foldy pieces popped open, and then I don't know what magical spring adventure happened, but a huge load is sort of popped off the top. And then I feel so bad. This kindly older man, he went to pick it up because he was like, oh, this young woman, an item has fallen out of her box, let me assist. And he leans down to almost grab it, and his brain processes that it's a big dildo on the ground, and his hand stops before grabbing it. He just didn't move. He stood there, frozen in time. My mom's just not even phased. She's like, this is just another day. This is true. It did say kiss the cook, but there's also a pocket on it. And it's got a big dish towel sticking out of it. And I'm like, oh, that's handy. There's a pocket on it. Cool. And there's this string, this pulley thing. And a 15 to 20 inch stuffed puppet dick pops out when you lift up the
That's truly your dad.
That is so my dad. So my dad.
From a young age, Melody had some very eclectic tastes. She was interested in things like sci-fi, cartoons, and anime, all of which would prove extremely influential going forward, as well as mythology, folklore, and the paranormal. She's also dealt with a lot of physical and mental health issues, from ADHD to generalized anxiety, to epilepsy, to celiac disease, to hypersexuality, the latter of which got to the point where it genuinely began to impact her daily life.
I get it. I had to go on medicine.
What?
To stop you?
Yeah, because I did it too much.
Wait, what do you mean?
I had to go on medicine to be less horny.
There's medicine to make you less horny?
Absolutely.
But it's specifically for that?
So I had a few different issues, but that was one of the comorbid things that it covers is hyposexuality. And I'm like, it is disrupting my life. I take less horny pills.
Sorry, what? Pardon?
She takes less horny pills.
Oh. That's cool. Does it help?
Yes, I'm at my least horny in my whole life. I was doing it about 11 to 12 times a day.
What? That's a lot.
And I was...
But wait, how much?
Thank you.
So how much do you do it now, Mel?
Now?
Yeah.
Only 3 times a day.
That is still like.
That's fair.
To
I mean,
a lot of
that's-
people, that's a lot.
No, I'm just like, that sounds reasonable. And I'm like, oh wait, I mean, oh my god, it's crazy. I used to take days off school just to do it.
Yes!
What?
Yes! Or I'd have to go home early, like, oh, I feel sick. I
Now
have to
I
go
know
home
why you
early.
guys are
And
my
it's like,
favorite. Man, you guys are so similar. Holy shit. Because you
I
had
didn't
to,
have to. I would just not go to school and I would
you
just
had to,
jerk
you
off.
know?
That as well, yeah. Or like
Yeah.
going to the bathroom and then it's like, oh, I missed like 3 classes.
So keep in mind, whenever you see how she is, this is her with her powers contained. She unfortunately also faced a lot of bullying for her interests. Anime was far less popular back then. But if there's one thing that defines Melody, well, it's her uncanny ability to find herself in the most bizarre situations possible, like nearly overdosing on bananas. There's also the fact that she's managed to injure herself in the strangest ways.
I played God. I posted a meme. I made a meme and I put it on Twitter, ProjektMelody, and that was a historical reenactment of what happened. I played God. I played God. I played with fire and I was burned. I was overzealous. I was too brave. And you know what? Bravery should often be rewarded, but I was rewarded with having to have Tylenol and go on Twitch instead. I flew too close to the sun. I flew 11 inches too close to the sun!
But if there's another thing that defines her, it's her belief in the importance of health and education.
That's an absolutely admirable job, being a librarian, being a teacher. Oh my God. I think teachers should be some of the highest paid people in the world. They are literally filling the minds, the brains, the heads of children, the people of tomorrow, the people who take care of you when you're older and make sure buildings stay up. Literally, you are crafting the future. Why wouldn't they make them the highest pay? That doesn't make any sense. You know how to curb teen pregnancy? Education. You want to know how to make things safer? Education. You want to know how to give children a feeling of autonomy and safety with the ability to express themselves and their needs? Education.
And one event that deeply influenced her was her experience with sex ed in school. When she and her classmates were being taught, they split the class between genders and educated them separately.
When you segregate by gender, which is incredibly common in the West, one, that is such a simplification because like people are more than the binary, but two, I remember that happening when I was 5th grade, and they made me stay in the room with all the other girly pops, and then there was the dude side as well, and they split us up. And I remember asking the teacher, "Why did you split us up?" And they said, "What do you mean? You're a girl." I said, "But I don't know anything about what's going on over there." And she's like, "Well, yeah, they're boys." And then I asked another teacher, and they said the exact same thing. And another one said I was perverted. Which one? I am perverted, but that sort of question is not perverted. It's not fun not having access to information. It's like, what? When you take away information, you doom society. You doom. Well, then you get to middle school and stuff, and then it's like, oh, it's embarrassing.
You're some kind of pervert.
Exactly. Thank you. Exactly. No, then you get to middle school and stuff, and it's like, I don't want to learn about testes. I want to learn about nocturnal emissions. You don't want to learn about breasts and milk ducts and hormonal changes about someone else that has a body that's not the same as yours. Why would you? No, it makes it scary and confusing. It makes you question other people around you. Not having information is terrible. Oh god. In that scene in Mean Girls where it's like, don't have sex or you'll get pregnant and die. I literally was told that shit. Literally.
What the fuck?
Literally told that shit.
These issues led her down a massive rabbit hole, and it opened her eyes to just how much there was to learn. One of her biggest inspirations was Canadian sex educator Sue Johansson, who is absolutely worth your time if you're interested in these topics. All of this deeply interested and fascinated her. And as she got older, she decided she wanted a job in this industry. From something like a romance writer at a magazine to the adult entertainment industry itself. Which...
Well, did you actually apply to any porno? Yep. Yes, I applied to kink.com for like 4 different positions. I'd be like, hi, hello, I have no experience and I am young, but I'm enthusiastic. I assume I'm the only one writing. Here is my resume. It's very poorly done, and I listed all of my favorite anime in the bottom, cause the recommendation for resume or whatever, it's you can add hobbies at the bottom. Don't do that. As soon as you do that, I applied to places like kink.com, like for several. It even had a section at the time where it said like, if you don't see the one that you want, you can give us a suggestion. And mine was free intern person. Bring you coffee. Writing, potentially anything. Cleaning I just want to be there. Fluffing, I don't care. I just want to be involved. But sorry, the position has been filled, very filled. Oi. Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna do porn. It's awesome. I'm so excited. This is my future. Please, Mel, can't you just go to art school? Mom, I want you to appreciate the irony of a parent begging their child to go to art school. Please, do you really have to do porn? Please, can't you just go back to art school? And I'm like, I never went to art school, and I don't want to draw. Ah!
And on top of this, Melody was feeling extremely lonely, isolated, and wanted to make new friends. Anxiety and years of bullying had made it hard to meet people.
I don't know, because it's weird when you're like really in a sad hole, when you're in that hole, like deep in that hole, but it's a hole of sadness, you forget just everything around you. It's not just, oh, I forgot to pee enough today. Oh, I forgot to drink enough today. Oh, I forgot to shower for who knows how long. Because sadness makes everything feel like Swiss cheese. And so you forget a lot of stuff. You forget that people care about you. You forget about your options. You forget to take care of yourself because your urgency and self-preservation gets real quiet. But yeah, having this bracelet was really helpful for like the 10 years or whatever. Because when I was in those sad holes and it's just like, I hate everything and me and I am a ghost, looking at it, I think, oh, that's okay. That's okay. This is a chemical thing. I'm going through a thing right now. This is normal. It's horrid, but it is a thing that is normal and I can feel this way.
But with all these things in mind, she began putting together an idea, one that would change the face of the internet. A pair of YouTube and Twitter accounts first appeared on July 7th, 2019, where Melody posted a series of binary messages. On July 26th, she posted her first concept sketch. A bit of a far cry from what she'd become, but I like it. More accounts appeared between August and December, along with teases of what was to come. And then, on December 27th, she made her first post on YouTube, an MMD music video for the song Adios by Everglow. This was when the world was first introduced to ProjektMelody. Her username comes from a combination of project, with a K because it sounds more sci-fi, and Melody Marks. Now, VTubers have been starting to emerge for a while by then. Kazuna Eye had been around for a few years, Hololive was founded that same month, and others, such as Ironmouse, were using programs like FaceRig. What set Melody apart was the fact that her model was fully 3D, and tracked all of her movements in real time using a motion capture suit. Common nowadays, but back then, particularly in the West, nobody had seen anything like this. Mel quickly garnered a lot of attention because of it, especially with her next debut. On February 7th, 2020, she first appeared on the adult website Chaturbate. The next day, on her second stream there, she became the most viewed performer with over 11,922 viewers, and her Twitter followers exploded to over 20K. Within a few days, that would increase 5-fold, and her streams would accumulate so much traffic that they would crash the entire website, repeatedly.
Well, we have crashed Chatterbait a few times.
Oh wow, you actually broke the website, holy crap.
A few times. Definitely Valentine's Day.
What were the numbers on Valentine's Day? I didn't actually watch that one.
Like 20 or 30,000 people.
Holy crap, that's more than some of the streamers on Twitch!
Not just from people using the site, but from curious onlookers who heard about this 3D cam girl. Like I said, nobody had ever seen anything like this, and Mel was the only performer like this on the entire site. As Mel herself noted, the MMD and weeb communities were very niche at the time, and she didn't anticipate to cause such a massive ripple.
It's crazy. Like, who can expect to become a meme? You don't do it on purpose. Like, the community has to decide for you. It's crazy. So much. I mean, even today we have 125,000 Twitter followers, and I just feel so lucky, but also really unprepared.
On February 21st, before advertising, sharing, or even using Twitch, she hit over 10,000 followers and reached partner status. And on the 25th, she posted her official debut video on YouTube. For April Fool's Day, she debuted a Dark Mel model on Chatterbait. This actually proved so popular that it became another character of hers called Melware, who became a major part of her lore going forward. The momentum carried her to new heights so quickly, it's hard to picture unless you were actually there. While I wasn't a follower at the time, I remember I first heard about her during this craze. Mel's friend X3 Dusko actually learned about her during this time, and that led to the two of them meeting and becoming very close.
Well, I knew of you because this is gonna be really weird. My father-in-law knows who you are, and then my husband knew who you are, and I was just like, oh my god, that's so interesting. And like a hentai like VTuber that also does other stuff, yoga as some more people would call it, online yoga.
But with this immense success also came detractors. Most criticism was just baseless and derogatory. Others were based on wrong information, like the idea that Mel was an AI rather than an actress. But some of the most prominent criticism came from the camgirl industry itself. Mel's status as the most popular performer on the site felt deeply unfair and even concerning to many. I'll be real and say the adult entertainment industry is not respected as it is. They're held to unrealistic standards, they work for long hours, and they often have very little protection in their line of work. In fact, if you've ever done something like not safe for work voice acting, many places will refuse to hire you. It's an incredibly harmful attitude. But as we learned before, contrary to many people's views at the time, Mel has always been an advocate. In an article with Vice, she said, "It makes me sad that other models don't want me there. I don't agree with the argument that because I'm safer and less likely to have stalkers, that I shouldn't be allowed to stream. I don't think camming is defined by the risks models take in their personal lives. I think it's defined by the content they produce, and the community they build around themselves. I think it's a dangerous precedent to tell future cam models that you are somehow less deserving of being a model unless you're putting yourself at risk." Mel had no intentions of seeing anyone in the industry replaced, and always encouraged safe engagement with one's community. She wanted to participate and wanted to meet people. And I think one of the best examples of that is her friendship with Ironmouse. While there was plenty of attention on her at the time, VTubing was still very niche, and a lot of the early VTubers ended up following each other early on. Mouse was still a small streamer at the time, and in early March 2020, at a time when she and her family were facing a lot of financial issues, Mel sent her a raid and helped her viewership skyrocket. That was the beginning of one of the most important friendships in her life.
The first message, man. My first message with Mel is just crazy. I just remember when I saw her message, I was just like, I cannot believe she's messaging me. Holy shit. I can't believe I'm getting messaged by the ProjektMelody. What the f? I was like in utter shock. I was so shocked. I was just like, I can't believe she's messaging me. What the heck? Was it great? No, it's a very wholesome message. It's a very wholesome message. And she sent me a gif of Umaru-chan. She sent me a gif of Umaru-chan playing on a little tablet. with a big thing of soda. If only we could see. I won't show the whole thing, but I'll show one little one. I'm most certain she won't mind. This was Mel's first message to me. It's so her. It's so her, right? Like, if I wouldn't tell you that it was Mel, you'd know it's her right away. You would know that it's her immediately. Like, there's no doubt that it's her. Isn't that sweet? I can hear it in her voice too. It's so sweet. The butt gives it away, yeah.
In April, they collabed together with Silvervale on Animal Crossing New Horizons. They also went on to create their own podcast called Lewdcasts, which would later become a recurring series on Mel's channel and featured a lot of other VTubers over the years.
How do you say the word bagel?
Bagel.
So as the year carried on, things seemed to be going extremely well for Melody, with over 250,000 followers on Twitch and 300,000 subscribers on YouTube, especially with the momentum carried by her streams in the midst of the lockdowns. However, contrary to the perspective that having a model meant she was safer, she also faced a lot of hardship in that same amount of time. She was temporarily banned from Twitch a few times, but these passed. On March 13th, 2020, PayPal froze her account and announced they were holding donations for 180 days. But the biggest came on November 5th, 2020, when she was suspended from Twitch and her videos were taken down due to a DMCA claim. A claim that she responded to in a twitlonger, explaining all the issues she was dealing with behind the scenes. Namely with the guy who made her original model. They'd been working together for a while now, with him helping tweak any technical issues, but he repeatedly refused her attempts to pay him. Instead, he tried to strong-arm her into a business deal with his company. A deal where she'd be paying $40,000 a month and giving said company 25% of the profits from her merch sales. And when she refused, he launched the DMCA claims on the grounds that she didn't own her own model. Claims that were disproven when Mel shared an invoice that not only did she pay $5,000 for full ownership of her model, they both fully agreed to it. The only claim he had was a lack of a proper contract, which is a legal gray area at best. Ultimately, the DMCA claims were dismissed, and Mel had other plans for her future. Later that same month, she and several other prominent VTubers announced that they would be joining a brand new agency, Vshojo. Something that had been an idea in Mel's mind for quite a while, and if people thought her rise to prominence was big now, this was just the beginning. Not only did helping establish the first Western VTuber company help bring her plenty of attention, it helped give other creators the spotlight. This included her friends like Mouse and Fruit, who'd been doing promotional artwork for her as well. And of course, you can't talk about Melody without talking about the subgenre she helped foster, Lewdtubing. A lot of creators who were already involved or considering getting involved with not safe for work content now had a new medium through which to express themselves. In an interview with Crunchyroll in 2021, Mel explained that one of her goals was not just to demystify, but normalize enjoying things like enjoying erotic content, both real and animated, to normalize real discussions and improve education on the topic. But something else that caught my attention was this quote. I have a friend who is a neo-Buddhist, and he taught me a lot about his life and how he got to this point. I really like the concept of mindfulness, of being in the moment. So much of my life I've lived in the past, and I think, no, I've got to work on the future. That's what I need to focus on. But I think living in the present makes a lot more sense because otherwise you miss out on moments. It's like going on vacation and not retaining anything because you spent so much time just taking photos. This highlights what I feel is one of Mel's biggest appeals as a creator. Sure, you can point to how goofy and awkward she is.
No, the other day while I was on stream, I disappeared for a while, and that's because I locked myself out of my house. I was opening the door because I'm like, oh, my shawarma, and then I heard click. I'm gonna use my phone. Well, at least I'm wearing pants. Well, at least it's a good time and everyone's gonna be away. Well, at least I'm wearing shoes and socks and I'm not freezing. You'll receive what I give thee, for I own you.
It's not aggressive enough. What are you talking about? What are you fucking talking about? That bear. I don't like the banana. I don't like that burger. Ow, I don't like the present. That's a bicycle.
Mel got banned, and then she didn't try to get unbanned until after she made like 20 alt accounts. Why did you make alt accounts?
I have so many alt accounts. I
makes
had
it
like
worse
20.
when you're trying to get unbanned. They're gonna think you're a scammer.
I'm IP banned. It sucks.
Mel!
I have fake identities that I made to try and get I'm different characters from shows on Netflix.
Why?
Because at a certain point, I'm like,
you
fuck,
just
I don't
send them
know.
an email?
I call them on the anniversary of my banning, and on my birthday, and on major holidays every year for 5 years, and they refuse. So the sentences are a little weird, and they're just getting weirder. It's like right now I'm trying to learn. My dress looks hideous, which feels like a thing I wouldn't typically say, but learning the letters is nice. When will they teach you sorry for sneezing on you, ma'am? I'm gonna kill you. Literally.
But when it comes to topics that interest her, she speaks with so much wisdom and enthusiasm.
Humor is memorable. It is. I feel bad for people who have trophy partners, because I've met them so many times, and it's like, yeah, I can see, your partner's very, very, physically attractive. It feels objective at this point. Absolutely, I totally get that. But you don't have anything in common. They don't make you laugh. And beauty fades. It happens. That's just what happens, yo. That's just what happens. Beauty fades, and at the end of the day, all you have left is conversation at a certain point. Physical capabilities will wane. Physical appearance will wane. And so on and so forth. And if you can't make the other person laugh, I just feel bad for them. I feel like that's so important. Having laughter in your life and heart.
As well as heartfelt opposition to censorship.
I'm making informative videos. I'm trying to figure out what to do because I don't want to censor myself on YouTube. I don't want to bleep every time I say things like fuck or 4chan or other things like that. I don't want to bleep, so I need to talk to my YouTube manager and ask what they think. I don't want to be part of that because that is the end of language. That is the downfall of society, even more so, is censoring yourself on YouTube. A place where people go to for information. During a time where information is being eroded, even Google AI is biased as shit. And that's when you look up something, it's the first thing that comes to your eyeballs at the very top. It's even worse than a sponsored ad. So I find it incredibly irresponsible for YouTube to censor language, where that is the best information many people in the world have to learning about something.
She's always had so much genuine love for what she does, and is always excited to share. She's also just deeply appreciative of other people, and inclusive to everyone's interests. And she's always spoken with so much sincerity and passion for the concept of VTubing, and how much it allows people to express themselves. She also became close friends with other creators who shared her interests, and her goal of educating others on these topics like LXOX and Vexoria the Sun Eater.
Boo! Did I scare you? Hi, Mel. Hi. Happy birthday. And I hope you get spoiled today. Have a lot of fun today. And eat lots of cake today. If you need cake, I can help you with that.
Yes, you can. Yes,
Love
you
you
can.
much. Big hugs and big love. And I'll always be fighting for you. I'll always be rooting for you. I'll always be rooting for you. Have a wonderful birthday, Mel. Here is your birthday bong. Woo, bonk! Take care. Have a wonderful birthday. Bye-bye.
The first time that I met Elle, they were like, hey, what flavors, what's your favorite flavor? And I didn't understand. And like wrote other people in the gym, they was like, what's your favorite flavor? And apparently Elle went out of their way to go find a cake shop that made gluten-free cake because they knew that I couldn't have it, and surprised me with a little beautiful cake at a party. I was looking around and I saw the hottest person I've ever seen, and I'm like, oh, That's you. And holding this little cake.
In April 2021, she was able to obtain a new Mel 2.0 model. And in September, she debuted her first live 2D model, which gave rise to a whole new line of amazing designs. It was also around that time that Melware became a recurring antagonist, sometimes taking over her Twitter and streams entirely. However, the most significant events of this era were the charity streams. For instance, in December 2020, when raising money for Toys for Tots, the group's initial goal was $25,000. They reached a final total of $71,000. On November 10th, 2021, Mel held a subathon and donated the money, a total of $45,000 to Locks of Love. On March 6, 2022, Mel and other Vshojo members raised money for Project Hope. Mel's stream reached over $15,000, adding to the group's total of $50,893.49. And her achievements didn't go unnoticed. Things eventually reached the point where, in October 2022, during her appearance at TwitchCon, NBC reported on it, describing her as one of the most prominent American VTubers. She was even named Lewdtuber of the Year in 2023 and 2024 during the VTuber events hosted by Fillion. Even putting aside the big accomplishments, Mel also had a great time participating in all of this. She was even able to finance the creation of her own game, A Nut Between Worlds. All of this culminated in her achieving one of her biggest long-term goals in mid-2025.
I've recorded this so many times, over and over, but at least I'm not crying this time. Mostly. Okay, a little bit. A journey is about to unfold. I'm going to Japan. It's something I've talked about for 100 trillion years, and suddenly it's here, and I'm overwhelmed. I can't express how thankful I am to each and every one of you for supporting me for as long as you have, like, to give me this opportunity. Like, who knew that I could do the things I love, like porn and streaming. I'm just so excited to get back to hanging out consistently. And I miss you all so very much. And you know I am dying of boredom not talking to y'all every day. And I'm a little lonely, I'm a little horny, and I'm also very excited. And so I think the next time I'll see you is on the other side of the world. And I really look forward to it. God damn it, I'm crying again. Yep. I don't know, it's just, it doesn't feel real. But I just wanted to say thank you.
But saying everything was smooth sailing for her would be dishonest. While she describes herself as an extrovert, Mel still struggles with anxiety, to the point of having a difficult time meeting or reaching out to people. And these are just the basics. As a person, Mel is deeply concerned over the well-being of others. One of her biggest concerns has been the ongoing battle with censorship across the internet, and governments denying access to key resources for vulnerable groups.
But there's never been a more valuable time than now to maintain your friend groups and families, both found and biological and something in between. This is quite the time to reach out to others and hold steady to your communities. Because it'll be very easy to isolate, very easy to stop talking to other people. I know I've done that. Very easy to give in to the sadness, like Artax in Neverending Story. Very easy. So unfortunately, it's gonna take a little bit of effort, just a little bit, and that can be hard because our brains can have cooties. But never has there been a more important time to connect with other people, because it's scary out there.
That had already been on her mind going into 2025, even before her move. Then, leading up to her birthday stream, she got really sick and needed to postpone the celebration. And while that went well, there was some more news just around the corner. In July 2025, the news came out that Vshojo's management had been failing to pay its talents and withheld over $500,000 in charity donations. Within days, the agency caved in as everybody quit. Despite the running jokes that Mel had secretly been the head of Vshojo, She hadn't actually been involved with managing the company for quite a while. She had no idea any of this was happening. But people who didn't understand that threw blame at her in the process. Already dealing with a lot on her plate at the time, Mel decided that she needed some time off, and I don't blame her. For someone who helped build an agency like this, who helped bring all these people together, and bring so much good into the world, I can't even imagine how painful all this must have been. She went almost radio silent. Occasionally she retweeted some fan art, but in her words, she spent most of that time crying and playing Baldur's Gate 3. But then, in early September,
I'm nervous, I'm nervous, I'm nervous, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. We're already scuffed? No. No, I was just really nervous. And to breathe.
from there, it was a gradual return to form. Mel continued moving forward, debuting a new outfit and trying to get back into the swing of things. As she said, it's okay to not be okay. You can be honest and say you're not doing well, that you need help, or that you need time. But it didn't kill her motivation. The tail end of 2025 saw her participate in several important events. This included Victoria's breast cancer D&D charity game, a charity stream for Hope for the Day hosted by her friend Pia, and her own end-of-the-year Melmas celebration, where she raised over $9,000 for the Trevor Project. Streams that not only saved lives, but helped break records. So, now that we've caught up to the present, what more can be said about Melody? Ultimately, it's that, in spite of everything, Mel has never stopped being kind. There's that old saying that power doesn't corrupt, it reveals. Some creators, when they reach this level of prominence, it can drive them to dark places. They feel like they can get away with anything. But Mel has never stopped being that same person who wanted to make the world better. Someone who used her rise to fame to do as much good as she can. She's had friends who dealt with housing insecurity, food insecurity, financial insecurity, health problems, and so many others, and it drove her to want to act. Yet she's never taken credit for any of it. She gives it all to others, especially her fan base. A community who's never stopped valuing her. One that's helped validate everything she believes in.
At a certain point I had to like
For real, I
only
hope
wear
the
it with
silly
hoodies.
stuff we make and us watching your streams been helping you out as much as you've been helping us out with your streams.
You guys
and
will
just
never
being
know.
You've been a big help on keeping mental health up. Thank you, Mel.
No, you! Seriously! No. I could say the exact same thing in my throat. I could say the exact same thing to you. What? No! No, literally! You guys are great. Thank you for helping me prove a point. Thank you for almost 6 years of helping me prove a point that perversity and sexuality have nothing to do with your moral character. That they are different aspects of the whole that you are. You can be a raging degenerate who likes hentai and jorking it to feet pick. And you can also do your part to save the world. We are more than the sum of our naughty parts.
Like I said before, a lot of Mel's appeal comes from her being a dork. She has some of the strangest life experiences I've ever heard. But her sincerity, her kindness, and outward focus is what's kept people around. I know it's what inspired me. And wherever she goes from here on out, I hope she never feels lonely again. Thank you for watching. Are there any other VTubers whose stories you'd like me to cover? Let me know in the comments. If you'd like to hear the story of Ironmouse and the lives she's helped save, check out this video here. And as always, be kind to yourselves and others. And I'll see you in the next one.